Welcome, everyone, to this edition of the Washington Financial Group Hub International Mid-Atlantic Fiduciary Fitness Podcast. My name is Colin Clark. I'm a Senior Vice President in the Retirement Plan Division. And so I'm really happy to be joined by Jennifer Amato, who's a CPA, and she's a director at SC&H, which is a firm out of Baltimore. But they have clients all over the country. And really what we wanted to discuss today is about audits. You know, we field a lot of questions about audits from our clients and how they work. So Jennifer, welcome. It's great to have you today.
Thanks for having me, Colin.
So one of the topics that we want to talk about is you said, what are the top ways to ensure a painless audit process? And that's kind of a funny way to put it. Like, is anything painless when it comes to audits?
Sure. I guess that's very relative, right? I guess every client may have a different opinion of that. You know, with regards to audits, I think the best way to prepare for them is having good processes in place on an ongoing basis. Now, again, that might not really sound like how do you prepare for one, but the clients that we have that are better prepared for their audits are the ones that basically take ownership and give time to their benefit plan during the year. You know, those that have clear-cut, consistent processes in place, those that have a good handle on their third-party vendors and what their third-party vendors are responsible for and what their third-party vendors aren't responsible for. I think that kind of pre-planning, meaning really when you're setting up your plan and when you're, you know, maybe even before you're large enough to need an audit, if you put all those different steps in place and, you know, make sure that you, without needing to be audited, are managing your vendors, managing your plan properly, I think that in and of itself will just lend yourself to a very painless audit, as painless as an audit can be. It's kind of one of those always thinking about the fact that you could be audited, right? Putting processes in place that if anybody came in at any given time and looked at your information, they would not have issues. So, you know, a great example is dealing with employee and employer contributions and making sure that you're doing checks and balances on those employee and employer contributions, making it to the plan on a periodic basis. Obviously, we as auditors do that, but if you have a process in place to make sure all of your contributions are being captured by your record keeper, you know, reconciling to your year-to-date payroll reports to make sure the contributions that came out of employees' accounts went into the record keeper and the custodian in a timely manner. If you're doing that on an ongoing basis and you have those processes in place, that in and of itself is going to lead to a very easy, in relative terms, audit. And I think the other thing is really having that relationship with your auditor and with your vendors to the extent you can. I'm not saying you have to be best friends with any of them, but the more that you have that open dialogue throughout the year with your vendors, the easier everything is going to be. Because obviously we're out to help our clients, and we don't like to hear from our clients once a year. We would prefer to hear from them numerous times a year. So if they are having issues, they can either bounce them off of us. If we don't have the answer, we obviously have partners like Washington Financial Group and, other vendors, ERISA attorneys, things like that we can help them find the right answer throughout the year so that when audit time comes around, they've already dealt with any issue that they may encounter.
No, that's a great point. I know one thing we do for our clients is we create what's called a fiduciary vault, where we put all those documents that you guys are looking for in one place on the cloud, so that we downloaded and sent to you. Because we get asked for things all the time, just kind of cleaning things up. Hey, our auditor's looking for this, our auditor's looking for that. And so we try to keep everything in a centralized location. But, there are always times where, hey, the auditor's asking for this document or that document, and it's not always available.
That's a great point, Colin, because, a lot of times what we recommend clients to do, and obviously first year audits are always a little more painful, especially if you've never been audited before. But we try to send out a very comprehensive information request list to our clients with a lot of templates to use, a lot of reconciliation templates. And what a lot of clients will do after that first year is they will actually, very similar to what you're saying about your fiduciary vault, is they will start utilizing those things and integrate them into their monthly processes so that by the time audit time comes around, they have everything they need and they don't have to go back and recreate the wheel. I think that's probably where a lot of people get spun up when audit time comes around, is they're trying to recreate a year plus back of data.
No, that's a great point. Well, that's excellent. And so I want to thank everyone for listening to this podcast. I want to thank Jen Amato from SC&H.
Thanks, Colin.
That's going to do it for this week's show. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy our show, we'd love for you to subscribe on iTunes or wherever you access your podcasts. The opinions voiced in this program are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, and SIPC. Investment advice offered through Global Retirement Partners, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Global Retirement Partners, Washington Financial Group, a division of Hub International Mid-Atlantic, and Hub International are not affiliated with LPL Financial. Global Retirement Partners, LPL Financial, Washington Financial Group, and Hub International are not affiliated in any way with the services offered by any guest on this show.